Let's go behind the scenes with Mark and Bart.
So you set up your little table here in Red's Corner, I see. So what's going on?
Yeah, I set up a little corner. I have a little project to do here. I got these back from Robert Edward Auctions, which is one of the finest auction houses in the country. This is a Hall of Famer, Elmer Flick.
I thought you were going to say Elmer Fudd.
Elmer Flick, which might be even a funnier name, but he was a great player. Not many people know about him. He's an obscure Hall of Famer at best. So anyway, that's Elmer Flick. I also picked up Miller Huggins, which is a great one for me.
Oh, look at him.
For selfish reasons. Look at that Cincinnati uniform. They wore a deep blue uniform with red lettering.
Wow, I've never seen that.
Yeah, he was a second baseman for Cincinnati.
Who yelled at people?
Well, he was only 5'6". He was a very diminutive little man. So he wasn't Hall of Fame caliber as a player, but he later made a name for himself as a Hall of Fame manager. First manager ever to take the Yankees to the World Series. And
wow.
He ended up winning 6 pennants with the Yankees, including the 1927 team, which many believe is the greatest team of all time. Of course, we all know it's really the 75-76 Cincinnati Reds. But
I'm with you there.
Anyway, I like this card too. He's got the hands at the mouth. He almost looks like a manager in that position, even though he was a player at the time. So it's interesting.
That's what I was going to say. He looks like he's yelling out at people on the field.
Yeah, he looks more like a coach than a player there.
Exactly.
But it's a cool card. Now, I am into the visuals and aesthetics of these things. That's why I collect them. So my thinking is, what's the point of having these beautiful cards with this amazing artistry and having them presented in such an unprofessional way? I mean,
it's all kind of wrinkly.
It's wrinkly. Some people call it a baggie. I don't know why they do it. I think to hold the card in place. But it's not my favorite look, to say the least. Especially when you compare it to what SGC does with their slabs.
Yeah, it looks so much better.
Look at that presentation. How much does that orange background pop against the black?
Exactly. Yeah, there's really no comparison.
There's no comparison. When you look at the two together, it's just night and day, literally. But so anyway, what I do, I don't like to get them regraded because I'd rather put that money towards cards. So I'm going to take this one out of the PSA slab and put it in what we call a one-touch holder, which is like this. We're going to take them out of the one-touch. Come on. So we've got that.
Right.
And now we're going to do what they call crack the slab.
Ooh, that sounds dangerous. Crack the slab.
If you do it right, there's really nothing dangerous about it, although I have seen a very prominent person on eBay take the cutters and actually put it straight down the middle of the card with the goal of cracking it vertically and then pulling the two halves apart.
Right.
I'm not going to do that. I have a method that I prefer that hopefully will work since we're on camera here.
Or if it doesn't.
I'm going to try to do this without damaging the card. I'm not going to put too much thought into it. You just basically clip the corner. I don't care about ruining the flip. There we go. That was a pretty decent break.
Ah.
Now, you got to get this screwdriver in there and wedge it apart as best you can.
So that paper labeling, there's no value to that?
There's a ton of value to that for most people. There's a saying called, buy the card, not the slab. What it means is go for the beauty of the card and what you prefer rather than some arbitrary person's opinion of what number grade it should be. Right. This is a VG3. I mean, look at that. There's not one wrinkle or crease on it. The corners are good. It's got perfect focus and registration. Why that's a 3 is beyond me. So I don't really want the slab calling it a 3. I'd rather have it in a one-touch where I can enjoy it and call it a 5.
So for us novices, who does the grading? Are they like licensed grader card people?
This is the biggest grader in the business, PSA. They're by far number one. Although with vintage cards, SGC, who did this one, is catching up very quickly for vintage. part of it is the aesthetics, and another part is people just think their grading is more consistent.
Can you argue the grade, or would you just have to have it regraded?
You can argue it. That's a great question. But what you'd have to do is send it in for an appeal, or you can just completely remove it from the slab like I'm doing and send it in as a raw card and see what it comes back with. But PSA isn't great at reassigning grades, I can tell you that just from what I've heard.
Right.
I've never tried it myself. Then you just work your way across the perimeter. There's a good little snap.
Yeah.
Good snap there. Work our way down.
That could be nerve-wracking. You don't want to touch the card, right?
You can't touch the card, and you can't go too far in with the screwdriver either.
Right. Ah.
And there we go.
Release the card. Yeah.
It doesn't look that bad now, but when you snap on the back half, it's what crumples it. Right now it looks like it's sitting pretty flat.
Right.
But it's just simply that film on the back of the card. They put it on the back. I think it holds the card in a little tighter is what the purpose is. But since SGC doesn't do that, I don't want to have to see it.
I mean, it's your card, just the way you want to see it, right?
Yeah, and there it is.
Oh, wow. Great. So we're going to put that in a nicer case.
And look how easy this is. You just stick it in there. Little recessed area so the card sits nice and tight. And we do that. And it has a magnet to hold it on. Once it's set, it stays in that recessed area. And you can see we've got the beautiful frosted edges.
A million times better, yeah.
Yeah.
And then the magnet, you don't have to crack it again, right?
Right, the magnet is very strong, surprisingly so. So anyway, that's it. That's the finished product. I like it better. I don't see how that was ever a 3. Maybe someone out there can tell me in the comments. But I prefer that presentation any day of the week.
Cool. Well, thanks for sharing that, a little behind the scenes. And then we need to do a whole episode on these cards, don't we?
Yeah, we're going to do an episode on them at a later date where we can really delve in. I know there's a lot of card videos out there and people that are already going to know some of this stuff. But we have some really good things to show you, and we'll focus on the aesthetics and the beauty of the cards.
Awesome. Look forward to it.
Same here.
Thanks, Mark.
Sure.